Geeks Not Nerds. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince.
And today we're going to talk about music we like, Vince.
Yeah.
The music stuff. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah. So anyway, today's question comes from 123 Rockfast, who asks, what kind of music do you like? So today, Vince and I are each going to give you our top 3 favorite bands. Now let me preface this by saying that the 3 bands I wrote down kind of change order sometimes, and there's like the number 3 jumps in and out a lot. So like I don't know how close to this list is to what it might be next week, but
Yeah.
do you kind of have that?
Yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I am. In fact, just now I remembered 2 bands that I wanted to stick in there. No, which one gets cut?
Well, we'll talk about honorable mentions and stuff because we've got a whole 10 minutes, right? So
Yeah.
let me put 10 minutes on the clock. We'll talk about our favorite bands, and I'm looking at mine more as 3 bands I like, not necessarily my top 3 bands. So anyway, let me put 10 minutes on the clock. Isn't this exciting?
Oh, yeah.
I know.
10 minutes on the clock. Here we go.
Here they are. And Vince, what's your number 3?
My number 3, I'm going to go with White Zombie.
Okay.
And
You're
White
saying
Zombie...
just bands I don't know, aren't you?
No.
Oh, okay.
White Zombie, for those of you who don't know, especially for those of you who are young, really, is Rob Zombie's first band. So, I mean, maybe not his first band, but his first popular band that he was in. So, White Zombie, it's much in the same vein that Rob Zombie does. The big difference is that after Rob Zombie split from White Zombie, Rob said that he's going to not use the bass riffs that Rob Zombie or that White Zombie used. So, White Zombie, La Sexorcisto is my favorite album of theirs. They're an honorable mention for another album of theirs is Astro Creep. So La Sexorcisto is great. It has Thunder Kiss 65. Oh my God, I don't remember the name. Anyway, Astro Creep has more human than human. So there's like geek ties in there, which is really neat to me. So we have a Blade Runner reference. We have White Zombie, which is named after an old black and white film called White Zombie. But it's for horror fans and for B-movie fans. It's just like the kind of music that you would want to listen to. It's I recommend looking it up if you don't mind scary music.
Well, just like with comics and movies and other things, as a lot of our fans know about me, I'm such a mainstream guy when it comes to music, and so it's interesting because I'm such a mainstream guy except for my number 1, which is not the most mainstream band in the world. It's really the only underground thing I do, and it's not even that underground anymore. But anyway, I'll get to that when we get to our number 1. My number 3 is REM because I'm big into melodic music. And that's what I like. And REM is really the band that kicked off the alternative movement in the late 80s. And they're what alternative used to be. What's sad is now REM gets played on classic rock stations, which bothers me because they're not arena rock. I like arena rock too. I'm a big fan of Styx. Actually, just saw Styx about a month ago. But I love Styx, and I also like REO Speedwagon. But what I like about and I like Journey and I like bands like that. But what that's stuff that I grew up with. But the thing about REM is that they wrote about 5 songs over and over and over and over again because they're a really melodic band and they have great melodies, but they just kind of kept rewriting them. So like their big hits are also, in my mind, some of their better songs. Now, a lot of REM fans, I guess, don't really agree with that and think that some of their best songs are things that never even really hit the radio. And they did some kind of experimental stuff, but like if you listen to 2 REM albums back to back, you're gonna hear at least 1 or 2 songs from each album that sound like almost the identical song. So maybe not on an album, but when you put it to another album, wait a minute, you wrote that again. There's a song, and I don't remember what it is, but there's a song that they wrote years after Everybody Hurts that sounds a lot like Everybody Hurts to me, and it's really weird because it's really funny because that song, I mean, it's a slower song, and that doesn't sound like everything else they did, so it's funny that they kind of came back and rewrote that song. But anyway, The End of the World as we know it is, I think, one of the best songs ever written. It's so catchy, and there's a lot to pick up in that song. And they're also great with their cultural references. Like, Man on the Moon is a fantastic song, too.
Right on. That's a good point.
So anyway, but that's my number 3.
That's fair. White Zombie, R.E.M.
They also got a Smallville episode. There's a Smallville episode where Clark is stuck in somebody's dream world, and every song in the dream world is an R.E.M. song, which is clever.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Right around when R.E.M.'s Greatest Hits CD came out in like 2003, I think. Anyway.
So you have see geek cred here. It's all linking up. Let's see here, number 2 for me. This one almost vied for my number 1. In fact, talk to me next week. It might be my number 1. It's Brian Setzer and all of its affiliates.
I do like Brian Setzer a lot.
Brian Setzer. I like the Brian Setzer Orchestra. I like the Stray Cats. I mean, he has a swing, he has jazz, he has rockabilly, he has rock and roll, and these things sort of all blend together into this interesting conglomeration that is Brian Setzer's career. And I started with the Stray Cats. In fact, I thought the Stray Cats were famous. I thought that everybody knew 2 Stray Cats songs, 2 of them. I thought everybody knew "Rock This Town," and I thought everybody knew "Stray Cat Strut."
They don't?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought everybody knew this thing. But I walked into a music section of a department store and said, "Hey guys, you have any Stray Cats? I'm looking for a couple albums." And they said, "Who are the Stray Cats?"
That doesn't mean anything.
And the manager of that department came up to me and he's like, "Oh, can I help you find anything?" I'm like, yeah, guys have any Stray Cats?" He says, "Who are the Stray Cats?" I'm like, "You're older than me."
They sound incompetent.
So
I'm not sure about that, man.
See, I suppose maybe I should gauge it by a music store, but I'm saying everybody I thought knew this stuff.
Yeah, right.
And afterwards, I had this ensuing conversation with both of these people, the manager and the associate.
Guitar Hero.
Yeah, I'm like, did you ever play Guitar Hero 2? They said, well, yeah. And I said, okay. Rock This Town was on there. They're like, I think I might remember that. I'm like, what do you mean you think you might remember that? It's a famous song.
Yeah, that's great.
I mean, it's like saying, have you ever heard the song Everybody Wants to Rule the World? I think so. Is that a good song?
Oh, I didn't even think about them. That's another band I like.
But I forget the name of the band.
Isn't that U2?
No.
Is that not U2?
No.
I always think that's a U2 song. It's not. By the way, can I also say I'm not a huge music guy, okay? So nobody lynch me. No, it's not, is it?
Yeah, 123 Rock fan just asked us what we would like, and anyway, I saw it in the inbox. I was like, we should answer that question.
We're not music guys. That's why we've never done a show on music before. But people always asked us that. I don't remember who does that song, but I like U2. I just thought I'd throw that out there real quick.
Yeah, U2's good too.
Anyway.
But, so yeah, Brian Setzer's projects, specifically Stray Cats, but his swing is great. Anyway.
I also happen to like hard rock and metal quite a bit, and so I thought I better throw one of those bands on there. And I don't know how to put anybody above Metallica. I don't know how to do it. I love Metallica, and if I'm going to throw in one of the themed Guitar Hero Rock Band games, it's going to be the Metallica one, because that's a lot of fun to play drums on. I don't know if you've done this, but it's fun.
I haven't done it yet.
You should. It's fun. You should come over and do it. It's great. Anyway, boy, what can I say about Metallica? Favorite Metallica song? One is really good. I like their slower stuff. Like, I like Metallica's, and I mean, like, it's funny to say that because I mean everything they do is heavy, but like they they're I don't know, Unforgiven I think is maybe my favorite Metallica song. But I also like For Whom the Bell Tolls, and
you like the heavy stuff.
Yeah.
This stuff that's going to make your heart beat like boom, 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 rather than fast. I like that. I don't know. It's a good way to go.
I think it's what they're best at, and it's the best vocal tracks.
It's more emotional that way. I mean,
yeah, it is.
And especially if you have emotional rock music, that's something that's almost an anomaly. So
I also like, although faster song, I also like Sanitarium a lot.
I haven't heard that one.
So that's the. Actually, it has another name, and I don't remember what it is. That's the parentheses name. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know. Everybody knows what Metallica is, but those are my favorite Metallica songs. So.
It just occurred to me I didn't name any songs about the Stray Cats.
Yeah, you did.
I didn't say any songs. Oh, I said Rock This Town and Stray Cat Strut. I'm like, I thought everybody knew those songs.
You not only said them, but you used fingers.
But that's a good point. But anyway, I'm going to digress briefly.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say, Look at That Cadillac. That's a great song. as questionable as it is, the title anyway, "Sexy and 17" is a great song, and Little Miss Prissy's really cool. Man, that sounds really dainty of me to mention that song. But it's really good. I don't know. They're great rockabilly songs, great jazz songs. Anyway,
What's your number one?
my number one, I'm going to say, is Cheeseburger. And I've mentioned it on this before. It's his punk band. It's punk rock.
Wow.
I almost picked Brian Setzer because I love him so much. But Cheeseburger, I think I'd never get tired of. And I got tired of it for a little while, but I came back to it. That's the thing, is that there are certain bands that I listen to religiously, and I don't necessarily learn the names of the songs. But there's like Hot Streets is one that got on the radio, and so that's one of their bigger songs. But Do You Remember is one of their best songs. They have 2 albums. I've only heard the first one, their self-titled albums. Oh, bum. But they're singular self-titled albums.
That's time.
That's time. So what's your number one, Cap? Sorry.
Did you have more to say about that?
No, that's fair.
Okay.
Cheeseburger's great. Check them out.
They Might Be Giants. They Might Be Giants. Always my favorite band. I'm not going to say a whole lot about They Might Be Giants. I've brought them up before. I've talked about them on Recommends. If you've never ever heard them, check them out, because if nothing else, it will be a new experience for you. The Giants write a lot of really melodic stuff. They write a lot of stuff rooted in folk music and many different kinds of music. You know, I mean, they'll do jazz type stuff. They'll do things that borderline on polka. They use
forgot about that.
No, they do. I mean, they use Leno plays the accordion, and so they use the accordion on a lot of their songs. And they've had some harder stuff. John Henry is a bit of a harder album. There are a couple of things that border on. I don't want to say metal, but on hard rock on that album. Best albums. Everybody always brings up Flood. I like Flood. It's not my favorite. I think Apollo 18 is probably my favorite Giants album. It opens with a song called "Dig My Grave" and it closes with a song called "Spacesuit." It's hard not to love that album. And then it closes with a song that is actually like a dozen little bits to songs they never wrote full songs of, and that's the whole song. It's just one bit of a song going into another bit of a song. Things like "What's that blue thing doing here?" Anyway, and let's see. I also like The Else, which is the album they put out just before their new album Join Us, which I recommended. And I've seen them 6 times. My wife and I go every time they're in Kansas City, and we have gone to the pageant in St. Louis to see them at least twice. And but I know collectively I've seen them 6 times. But anyway, I don't know. The Giants were really influential for me when I was a kid, and have a lot to do with my kind of quirky sort of sense of humor. So anyway, yeah, that's my favorite. Always will be.
Do you have any runner-ups? Because I'm just going to list them off.
Yeah, Offspring. I totally didn't think of, and that's one of my favorite. I have all their albums too.
For me, I'm going to say Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Ray Charles, and Throw Rag, and
I like all the jazz stuff too.
I can't forget Elvis Presley.
Right. I was surprised that wasn't on your list.
Yeah, I sometimes get tired of Elvis Presley, but Stray Cats, I don't know. I can't get tired of that.
Well, what is some of your favorite music, and also let us know what you think about some of our favorite music. And if there's something you'd like us to talk about in a future GNN, leave that in the comments as well. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince, reminding you to support your local music store.
Do those even exist anymore?
Yeah, you know.
One every now and again.
This might be true.
We'll see you next time.
Sexy and 17, because I love that song, but I'm like, I'm a 25-year-old guy.